I show up to Naval Academy my freshman year. We have our first team meeting and training camp, and I'm looking around, kind of taking it all in, and I see the whiteboard. There's a depth chart, and it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then after 4, there's 2 5s, 2 6s, 2 7s, and I was there at 8, and I was like, I'm never gonna play.
Today on the show, we're joined by Marine Corps officer, NFL player, and apparently a decent surfer, Paul Quessenberry, who comes from a family where both his brothers play in the NFL. Paul talks about limitations and his approach to them, his path to D1 football at the Naval Academy, where he fought to go from zero to hero as a player. And finally, we talk about chasing his NFL dream after 5 years on active duty. Clearly, nothing can stop a man on fire. Let's get into it. Paul Quesenberry, Marine Corps vet, NFL player. Thanks for coming out.
Thanks for having me again, Steve. Appreciate it.
San Diego is the second time I see you out here, 2 years.
Yeah, man, it's a good place to be.
So, you got this crazy background, the Marine Corps, NFL, and now we just film you with a pro surfer on the world tour.
Yeah, Jake Marshall is one of my, best friends growing up in this town. He's a great surfer and just a great friend. And coming in here, get my first taste of a surfing style workout. It was good fun.
I love it. And so that's another one of your secret superpowers is you're
I don't know if I'd define it as a superpower, but I definitely love to do it.
Jump out of airplanes, surf, play football.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man. It's been a pretty adventurous life so far.
It sure has. And I feel like this underlying theme of your life, Paul, has been this desire and love of football. Why football?
For me, it goes way back to when I was a little kid. I think I was 8 years old when I first started playing. I love the physicality. I love the team atmosphere, the camaraderie, and the preparation that goes into executing on the football field. Going out there, being just aggressive and violent, and just being fired up for your teammates. That kind of lit a passion in me at a really young age, and there's nothing better than winning a football game and that post-game feeling with your teammates. It's unique air to breathe, and if you are fortunate enough to keep playing as high school, college, and then onto the NFL or professional rinks, it kind of just gets better and better. So yeah, it's awesome.
And that passion is probably fueled by your two brothers who are both in the NFL.
Yeah.
So there's probably a lot of competition at a very young age in your family.
No doubt. Super competitive growing up. My older brother and I were a lot closer in age. Every other year we'd play on the same, youth sports team. So I was lucky in that sense to always be, catching up to where my brother was at. And obviously he's older than me, he's developing faster than me, so physically he's more mature. But just growing up with him and being with him, seeing what he's doing, it's well, I'm just thinking in my head, why can't I do that? So I think that helped me progress at a faster rate. And then the same thing can be said for my little brother Scotty. I think out of all three of us, he's the best athlete. He's had the most kind of complete approach when it comes to dedicating himself to the profession of football. From a young age, he had this incredible confidence that I kind of mistakenly thought was a little bit of arrogance, and I definitely called him out on it a few times when we were younger. But when he started accomplishing what he said he was going to do, I'll tell you a quick story. At my high school, La Costa Canyon High School, there's only been one player, to my knowledge, that played JV, junior varsity, as a freshman and varsity as a sophomore. There's been a couple varsities as a sophomore, but only one freshman played on JV. His name is Instills. He's probably the most gifted athlete ever come through our high school. Got drafted to the NFL. Played 8 or 9 years. He's a good friend of mine. And when you look at Kenny, even at that young age, you knew there was something special about him that it's God given, right? And I don't have that. My brother doesn't have that. And Scott, at that age, I was like, Scotty, you don't have that. But he believed that he did, and he was like, I'm going to play junior varsity as a freshman. And you know, like I was like, no, you're not. Like just kind of big brother trying to like make sure he's got his head on straight. And sure enough, like he went out and started on varsity as a sophomore, was a blue chip recruit, and everything he kind of said that he was going to do, he did. And to be able to witness that from like an older brother perspective, it makes me like super proud of him, because he was able to just like not see barriers that a lot of other athletes kind of see throughout their journey. And I think that's probably one of the most valuable lessons I've learned from my brother, is that, you know, there's only limitations if you set them on yourself. And, you know, I'm watching him as his older brother, and he's just out there blowing the top off every step of the way. And that's been really cool to see for me and my older brother as well.
It's amazing that you're describing Scotty at age 12 or 13, freshman in high school, who's already figured out mindset as a critical piece of success. I mean, there's guys in the leagues 10 years or so working on mindset.
Yeah.
And here he is 12 years old, and just maybe being the youngest, he had some help.
Yeah, I think, I don't know. Like, I think you definitely benefit from watching people go through it before you. That's a circumstance that a lot of young kids don't have, because, you know, sometimes you have a sister who, you know, you don't play the same sports, or you have a brother who, you know, isn't into what you're into. But for us to both be doing exactly what he wanted to be doing, and getting to kind of absorb that and like be involved in our friend groups and watch our teams play and win and lose and struggle, and all the work that went into it, and everyone kind of looking out for him. He just was like, dude, there's nothing I can't do. I'm just going to go do it. And that's what he did. And it's pretty cool.
So he got that mindset from experience, but also success.
Oh yeah.
Right. So it's hard to have a mindset like that when you're failing all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So here's this the youngest of 3 NFL players. He's getting a lot of reps at a young age and getting a lot of success.
Totally. And another thing that's unique to him is he was always a really big kid. You know, when he started playing Pop Warner football, he played 2 divisions up because he was heavier than like the kids in his age. So not only did he have older brothers, like every other one of his teammates and his friends was, you know, 2 years older than him, sometimes 3. And it took him a long way, a lot more time to mature, you know, than his peers on those teams that he played for. And then he was always like a good player, tough kid. But when he, you know, got to that point where like, hey, he's hitting puberty now and he's like actually maturing physically, it was like, dude, this guy's a freaking monster, you know? And he's like a man amongst boys. It was pretty freaking cool.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So you've got this family all marching towards pro football, and suddenly it's time to go to college for you.
Mm-hmm.
And you choose a radically different option. Naval Academy. Serve the how'd that happen?
It honestly fell in my lap. My dad is a Naval Academy graduate, class of 1980, and we were fortunate to grow up a way that, you know, whatever we wanted to do, we were able to do it. And we had the support of my mom and my dad. And, you know, you realize that not everyone's fortunate to grow up under those circumstances. And I always thought, like, I can do anything I want, like, you know, as long as I apply certain principles, you know, work ethic. I was aware of that growing up, and my goal as a high school kid was to get a Division I football scholarship. And the Naval Academy, they found me, they recruited me, and it was like, you know, that moment where the clouds open up and the light shines down from the heaven type of like destiny moment where I was like, dude, I have to do this. And so, yeah, that's what I did. And I never thought that I was going to go to the Naval Academy or join, you know, the Marine Corps, serve my country, like when I was in high school. But as soon as that became a path, I knew that's like exactly what I had to do. So
the Naval Academy was really the culmination of a dream to play Division I football.
For sure.
And there was no really thought around pro sports at the time, because the next step was college.
Yeah. So when I was in high school, I mean, I'm not going to say I never thought about it, but it wasn't like something that I had, circled on a poster in my room and like worshiped and like envisioned for my life. My whole thing was I want to play Division I football, and I want to start. Like I want to play, and it's funny because I was like, oh, I got scholarship, like I'm going, like I've never not been a starter on any team I've been on, and I show up to Naval Academy my freshman year, and I walk into, we have a first team meeting and training camp, and then we split defense, and then we split into position meetings, and I was playing outside linebacker at the time, and we walk in the room, everyone kind of like find, all the older guys have their, like, hey, this is my seat, like nobody, like don't sit there. So the young guys are like trying to find where to sit, and get a seat in the back or something, and I get my seat. I like start looking around the room. Coach, his name was Tony Grantham. Coach Grantham is outside linebackers coach. He's introducing himself, telling us a little bit about him, whatever, and like what we want to do in this room, who we want to be. And I'm looking around, kind of taking it all in, and I see the whiteboard. There's a depth chart, and it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then after 4, it's split. There's 2 5s, 2 6s, 2 7s, and then like couple 8s, and then like a miscellaneous couple names underneath. And I was one of the last ones on that depth chart. And I was like, first of all, I've never seen a depth chart in my life. And second of all, I've never thought one could be so big. Like usually it's like, you hear, oh, that guy's third string, and that's kind of it. This had freaking 4 and then doubled up all the way down to 8. And I was there at 8, and I was like, I'm never going to play. Like, that means I will not get any reps. So that's, like, really discouraging. But I just remember, like, all right, I'm not going to play my freshman year. And I was just coming off of shoulder surgery and, like, recovering off an injury, so I knew that wasn't really possible anyway. I was like, I'm not going to let that, like, whatever. That is what it is. Like, I'll go out and practice. I'll play football. It's going to be fun. I'll play hard and just go have fun and get to like really bond with my teammates. And I'm not really like thinking of this like kind of proactively. I'm just like, I'm finally happy to be playing Division I football. And it just so happens that my teammates are awesome people. We have this incredibly unique atmosphere at playing Navy football. And just to be a part of that and that special group of dudes was like, this is where I want to be. And this is who I want to be with. And going through all the, struggles of the Naval Academy with academics and, all this freaking BS all the time, just getting out on that field and going playing ball with these, incredible dudes is like, that made everything worth it. And then my freshman year played, got a few reps, and on one play, there was a fumble. I scooped it up, returned it 70 yards for a touchdown. The next day, we come to meetings. Coach Green, the defensive coordinator, like one of the best coaches I've ever had, just an absolute nutcase, but love that man to death. He's up in the meeting, he's freaking out, he's screaming, calling people out on effort and not good enough here, not good enough there, and then he throws my play from the day prior on the fumble recovery for a touchdown. He's like, we need guys like this. Like, look at this. Like, he's freaking 8th on the depth chart, and go up to position meetings, and I moved up all the way to 4. I was like, oh, dang, like, they know who I am, like, and now I'm 4. I might have a shot, And it was that one play that kind of changed everything, and then I started getting way more reps during practice, and by the end of spring ball, I had a pretty good spring, and I was in the locker room one day, and I forget who it was, but they come running downstairs into the locker room. They're like, hey, yo, PQ, Coach Green wants to see you. I'm like, am I in trouble? Like, what the heck is going on? So I run up to his office. He's like, here, come on in here, Quiz. Like, take a seat. And we're in the defensive staff room. It's a huge, like, long, like, Viking hall style table. And it's just him watching film. And it's like all my cut ups from spring. And he's just like, play. And he's like, giving me feedback on all of these plays, telling me like what I'm doing good and what I need to work on and this and that kind of deal. And we cut the tape. He turns the lights on. He's like, here's the deal. I want you to put on 15, 20 pounds this summer. And if you do that, you'll start as a defensive end next year.
As a sophomore?
Yeah. And I was like, roger that. Let's do it. Went downstairs to the strength coach, and I was like, hey, Coach Green just told me I'm playing DN next year. I need to put on 15 to 20 pounds, and I'll start. And he's like, hey, here we go. And then I had a buddy who, like, got me all dialed in with, like, a nutrition plan. Like, I was drinking protein shakes in the workouts. Like, he was like, when you lift, you have to take a sip after every set. And so I was like doing that religiously, doing creatine and just like trying to bulk up, and showed up 15 pounds heavier. And then I started my sophomore year and started the rest of my career at Navy. And yeah, it was a freaking awesome experience.
You know what I love? We started off talking about your little brother Scotty's mindset. And then you're telling me about the story freshman year at the Naval Academy. And you had a choice, right? And your choice could be, this is not fair. I'm the very, very bottom of the depth chart. But your choice was, I'm just grateful to be here.
Yeah.
And I think that is a super powerful start. And then the second thing I heard you talk about was, I had an opportunity.
Yeah.
The ball was on the ground. And I made the most of it. I ran 70 yards.
Yeah.
And look what that's done for your career.
Yeah. Without that play, like, you and I are not talking.
Yeah. I chose to be grateful, and I made the most of what was shown to me. And I just kept working with my head down as a starter sophomore year. So now you're getting to the Naval Academy. You love football. You're doing well at football. But you got 5 years of wearing a rucksack and going overseas and doing that. So was football no longer part of your future?
So I was fortunate enough to have a couple invites to some rookie mini camps after my senior year at the Naval Academy. I went to Houston. I was actually on leave before the commissioning week ceremonies were going on, and it kind of just timed up perfectly because I wasn't really permitted by the Marine Corps to pursue the NFL, but I was on leave, so I could kind of do whatever I wanted within the UCMJ. But I was like, all right, cool. I'm going to Houston, and I'm going to go play football for the weekend. I ended up getting cut anyway, but they had me come in and play linebacker. I played defensive end in college. You know, it was a lot to transition, and I realized, you know, I'm not going to play linebacker at the NFL because if I do get an opportunity, I'm not going to be able to learn this quickly enough to be like a contributing member of the team as an undrafted guy. And if you're not, as an undrafted guy, if you don't have value right when you show up, you're getting cut. So, but I knew, like, athletically, I could do something on that field. And then, you know, get cut, go back to the Naval Academy, commission in the Marine Corps, go through TBS and then infantry officers course, and check into 2nd Battalion 1st Marines here in Camp Pendleton, California. And I'm just training up my platoon, getting after it with the boys, and watching my brothers on the weekends when, you know, we weren't doing anything, and watching their games. My older brother's in the NFL. Scotty's still up at UCLA playing college ball, and every now and then you see like a fullback or a tight end kind of doing a fullback tight end kind of tweener role. And that grabbed my attention, and I was thinking to myself, like, I could do that, you know. It just requires, you know, like violent collisions, grittiness, kind of like a willingness to do dirty work that, you know, a lot of people just, quite frankly, have no interest in, because
So it's the Marine Corps.
yeah, it's like the Marine Corps infantry, dude. Like, it's the same thing. I was like, that's like the grunt of the NFL, right? You know, you got your superstars, you know, playing receiver, big time tight ends, quarterbacks, like, you know, offensive linemen share the kind of infantry style, and then like the defense, like everyone has a potential to be a superstar on defense. Like if you just go make plays, but like that guy's never gonna be like a superstar, but he's always there. and he's always like a pivotal kind of member of the team. And I was like, I could do that, you know, and like I could go out there and do the dirty work and like earn everybody's respect and just make that a better place to be, make that environment like a better place to be a part of. And I was like, all right, like if I ever kind of want to go that route, like that's what I'm going to do. And sure enough, we get to the point in my career where I had to like accept career designation or basically pop smoke and get out of the Marine Corps. And, you know, you got to like feel out like where your heart's at. And my heart said, dude, go to the NFL. Like, this is it. You know, you're never going to get another chance. And it wasn't like I had a chance, right? It wasn't like, hey, just go knock on somebody's door and they're going to let you come, you know, play.
How many years had you not been playing football?
Shoot, at that point, I think my last game been like over 6 years ago.
So you took a 6-year break.
Yeah.
From competitive football to go wear a rucksack, be a small unit leader.
Yeah.
And you're still thinking about pro ball.
Yeah. Fortunately, I'm built like a fire truck. Not a fire truck, a fire hydrant. So my natural body type, you know, I still trained semi like a football player. So physically my body was still kind of ready to go. I mean, there were certain points in my career where I never got on the scale because I was nervous. I was under 200 pounds, but usually I was floating around 230, 235. You know, and I wanted to be 250. And I knew, like, you know, a good 6 months, like eating right and training for football, like I could do that pretty easily. I shouldn't say easily, but like with relative ease, following a certain protocol, like I could get to 250 and like be a good 250, like NFL body type.
But were you aware that there was guys your age ending their NFL careers?
Oh yeah.
And you were just trying to start yours?
Yeah. I mean, I just figured that somebody would be interested and somebody would be intrigued. And if I had the physical skills, like if I was big enough, fast enough, strong enough, then, you know, every now and then you hear about teams kind of taking a chance on a weird situation. You know, a guy grew up in this country or he played basketball or, you know, I was like, why can't I be like kind of one of those one-off stories? I think that I was pretty naive to assume that.
So who gave you the crack?
It was New England. It was Coach Bill Belichick, Nick Caserio. At that time, he was the director of player personnel in New England. So it's a really long story, like how I ended up doing it. But basically, my best friend Jimmy Britton, played football with him at Navy. We got stationed together at 2nd Battalion, 1st Marines together, both platoon commanders together, roommates. You know, he's been my best friend for over a decade now. That's crazy.
So how many years have you been involved in the NFL now, post-military?
2020 to 3 years.
And you played on?
Like 3.5.
So 3.5 seasons. How many different teams?
Just 2. New England and Houston.
Tell me where you are now.
Free agent. For a while, I was just kind of waiting around, waiting for a call, expecting, you know, to be picked up. And it just hasn't happened. And my wife and I moved back from Texas to here. We're kind of in a weird, like, holding pattern. And, you know, to be a legitimate prospect as a free agent, it's a full-time job, but it doesn't pay the bills. And it requires, you know, you to still train and eat and do all these things as a active player would be doing, but you don't have any money coming in. And so it was like, well, I got to get a job. And for me, I'm not interested in like a plan B route. I've never been that way. And maybe against the better judgment of some smarter, more wise people in my life, trying to push me in a certain direction or get into like something with a little bit more financial security and stability, I was just like, dude, I need a hard job. I need something that's gonna like physically be demanding and be mentally challenging and keep myself, humble, and just like every day remind me like, hey, this is where I'm at. Like, I'm a free agent. I could like put my head down and feel sorry for myself, or I can just grind and just press on, and so I got a job doing, manual labor at a construction site, and I pick up freaking chunks of concrete and move them from point A to point B. I swing a sledgehammer and I move, chunks of wood here and there, and just do grunt work all day. And to me, that makes sense, because that type of like headspace for me to get into that headspace is directly transferable to playing football and the grind of a football season and training camp. And I'm not getting those reps right now because I'm a free agent. So I need to replicate that in a way that is going to pay off, as a football player. And at the same time, I'm learning like valuable skills that I could, do around the house. Like if the dishwasher gets busted, I can fix it and stuff like that. So
it's just amazing to me to hear Naval Academy graduate, leader of men for 5 years, NFL player, and the desire to reach an objective is so great that you're going to humble yourself to do whatever it takes to reach that goal. Why is the NFL still this beacon that you just can't turn away from? Why is it still drawing you?
Like, I've never really thought about it. I guess I'm getting emotional. I'm sorry. It's something that I've always wanted to do my whole life, to dream, and I want to be able to look at my kids one day and say, you can do anything that you put your mind to. And I want to mean it. And I've taken a very abstract path to get to this point as a NFL player, free agent, whatever you want to call it. And I've been around a lot of really incredible people. I've served with some amazing Marines, and without those experiences, without those guys, I wouldn't be even in this position. And I want people to know that no matter what your circumstances are, like if you want to do something, you want it bad enough, you can find a way and you can go make it happen.
That's right.
And I think I'm living that,
Yeah.
And my wife, she just jumped right in. Like no hesitation. I don't even think she understood what she was getting herself into. But she's been there every step of the way, and it's been it hasn't been easy, I'm pretty accustomed to living out of a rucksack, suitcase, whatever. And she's not.
That's right.
But she picked up her rucksack, and she's been right there with me and supporting me the whole way. And it's like, dude, I owe it to her. I owe it to so many people who supported me, and I owe it to myself to see this through. And I just love football, man, and being a part of a team with a common goal, and just a desire to succeed at the highest level. It's special to be a part of something like that in anything in life. And for me, football is a realistic place to achieve that. And I ain't done. I'm not ready to accept that at all. And it's been a while since I've been in an NFL locker room with an opportunity, and I don't know what the future holds, but all I have is each day. And if I win each day, then you have to believe, you have to think that it's coming. And it might not, but if it does, you only have yourself to blame if you ain't ready. And I'll be ready, So,
Why do people fail? Because they quit. And you're not quitting. That's loud and clear. You just got this wonderful support network. You got these two brothers breathing in life. You got this wife. And you've got this amazing inner drive that you were born with and the Marine Corps chiseled out of you. Get the job done. It's awesome. It's inspiring. I'm so grateful for your time. You're a warrior, brother.
Appreciate you.
And go. 2, 1, stop. It literally settled in the last 3 seconds.
Oh.
That's good. Tells you guys did a good job.
Help me recover. Come on.
You're good.
He's like, I only hang with the winners.
The winner's side.